Hello, my little troublemakers. Let's continue the fun. Today we'll be climbing to the next step, so I highly recommend saving the project under a different name. In the same folder, press Shift S. If your versions only differ by the ordinal number, then just press the plus sign and save the project. Now we'll be able to crumple up and throw away this sheet and start over from the last lesson. I've updated the asset folder again. If you're going through this course as new lessons come out, then you need to download the asset again. Now there are two new files there. PNG file named palette and FBX file named skeleton. Today we will add a new enemy to our game and learn to work with actions. Let's go. Now we will import a new prop. And before we start, we need to choose the folder for import. This is a very important moment. The import will be made into the same folder that is currently selected. And if our character gets sucked into the wrong place, for example, into the folder with trees, it will lead to an error, in search of which you will lose all your brain. Because this folder participates in a loop. For each element, we dynamically change the shape. And the new prop has no shape, and as soon as the loop encounters it, our game will collapse. In short, be careful with this moment. Find the props folder and select it. Also, make sure the 3D cursor is in the center of the scene. If it's somewhere else, then press Shift S and 1. Go to the File menu. Choose Import, FBX. Open the asset folder, Props, and select the file named Skeleton. A character will appear on the scene. The first thing to do is to fix the transformations after import. Open the right panel, select the character's mesh. Not the rig, but specifically the mesh. In the right panel, we can see that not all transformations look good. The scale is fine, but the rotation and position need to be adjusted. Rather, not adjusted, but apply the existing ones. Again, make sure only the character's mesh is selected. Press Ctrl A and select Location. Press Ctrl A again, and this time select Rotation. Now select the rig. The rig has issues with both scale and rotation. But don't rush to apply them in the same way. If you simply apply the scale, everything might look fine, but when you start the animation, the character is likely to fly off into space. And you won't see it anymore. So, be careful at this point. Select the rig, press Ctrl A, and choose Scale to Deltas. The scale on all axes should be reset to 1. Now press Ctrl A again and select Rotation to Deltas. The rotation should turn into zeros. Save. Let's move on. Now, to avoid breaking the workspace with temporary windows, let's switch to the Shading tab. Select the skeleton mesh. Create a material. Name the material the same as the object. Skeleton body. Remove the shader. Add an Armory PBR block. And connect the texture from the asset folder to it. Named Palette. Turn the roughness channel to 1. And switch the smoothing to Shade Smooth. There we go. Finished with the appearance. Let's return to the layout. The character we see is just a decorative element. He will not participate in collisions. It's just for beauty. So, we need to create an object that will perform all the functions of this character. And we don't need to create a new object from scratch. We can simply copy the existing one. Enemy number 1. Our blue cube. It has all the necessary characteristics. It can move towards the player. It reacts to bullets, and so on. Copy the cube, place it next to it. Rename it to Enemy 2. Now we need to place the skeleton in the same spot, so that their transformation points match. You need to drag the character by the rig, because the rig is the parent object. If you move the mesh, everything will break. So, select the rig with Shift held down. Select the new cube, press Shift S. In the menu that appears, choose Selection to active, or just press the number 9. The skeleton jumped into the box. Now let's turn it to face forward so that the local axis of the skeleton and the cube match. Select the rig. Press R, Z, 180, and confirm the transformation with Enter. If instead of rotating, the skeleton starts falling to the floor, it means you need to change the orientation from local axis to global ones. Excellent. Now you need to parent the rig to the cube. Select the rig. Holding Shift, select the cube. Press Ctrl P. And choose Object. Now, if you select the cube and move it, the character should move with it. Both the mesh and the rig. All that remains is to lower the skeleton to the floor so that it does not fly in the air. Select the rig, in the right panel, in the location along the Z-axis, enter 0 and press Enter. Now, to test the appearance of the character, let's open the enemy spawn branch and replace the object name with Enemy 2. Now instead of regular cubes, cubes with skeletons will spawn. Skeletons automatically play their animations. And that's not exactly what we need. So let's tidy up the actions. It will be more convenient to do this on the Animation tab. Let's arrange the windows as follows. In this window, we need the dope sheet in Action Editor mode. In the bottom window, open the NLA editor. Now select the rig. Actions are attached to the rig, so be careful not to make mistakes. You need to select the rig specifically. And now, to make all the actions available in the game, we need to load them into the NLA editor. If you've done everything correctly, now, with the rig selected, you can see the current active action. Pressing the space bar, plays the animation. Pressing the escape key, stops the animation, and returns the cursor to the position of the last start. And if you press the space bar again during animation playback, it will stop the animation and leave the cursor where it stopped. You can move the cursor with the mouse or with the left and right arrow keys on the keyboard. By clicking this button, we'll open the action library. Currently, we can see 5 actions in it: walk, and 4 variations of gruesome and torturous death. In the code, we will use the names of the actions, so I suggest shortening the names. You can remove the skeleton armature prefix from all the names. Click on the name, remove the unnecessary part, and confirm the change by pressing Enter. Now, place this action in the NLA editor by clicking the Push Down button. To see the strip name in the NLA, you can simply increase the scale by scrolling the mouse wheel. The same steps need to be taken with the remaining actions. The rig must be selected. Let's open the library and select the next action, Death Number 2. We'll shorten the name and place the action in the NLA. All of this can be done using only the NLA. Click on an empty track. In the right panel, open the library, rename the action, and click the Push Down button on the track. As a result, we should get a picture like this. the longest action has a duration of 23 frames. Let's remember this number. It will come in handy. Let's save and return to the layout. Run the game. Now we see static skeletons. And now we have the ability to control actions using code. Let's try. Open the enemy move branch. Right after spawning the enemy, we need to start the walk animation. Add an on-init block. And right after it, add a play action from block. In the action field, we need to select the name of the required action from the list. Skeleton walk. Leave the initial frame as 0. But set the last frame to 23. It seems like the skeleton walk action has only 9 frames. Why do we need to set more? This is just a workaround that solves the problem specifically with this one block, which is called play action from. This block is raw and works incorrectly. I hope this issue will be fixed soon. But for now, here's what we have. If we specify 9 frames, we will cut off the rest, longer actions, and they will not play completely. Make sure to check the loop option so that our walk doesn't stop. The final touch. We need to specify the object's name. And here we'll have to solve a little puzzle. If we leave the field empty, then we will try to start the action for the owner of the branch, which is the cube. But it doesn't have any actions. So we'll get an error. We need the rig. But we can't use its name because we'll have many copies. And if we use this option, we'll see that the very first character will move, but the others won't. This is because each subsequent copy will have a sequential number added to its name. So we must refer to each newly created rig every time. As it turns out, this new rig will always be a child element of the spawn cube, which in turn is the owner of this logical branch. So, we use the getObjectChild block. This block finds a child element with the specified parameters and returns it to the child output as an object. Let's look at the parameters. We can't search for the child element by name. We've already found out that the names will be different. We can switch the block to the contains mode and specify a part of the name that will be guaranteed to be present in the names of all objects. Let's copy the word armature from the rig's name and paste it into the child name field. Now we see that all skeletons are moving. Let's decrease the animation speed to 2/10. It will look more appealing. Let's save and continue. Although, no, I think it's better to split the skeleton animation setup into at least 2 parts so you don't get overwhelmed. So, we'll continue in the next lesson. Don't get bored. Bye for now.